Travel is such that you do need like proper pick up and drop in the middle of the night and things like that, and safety. You have to look out for these things. There are so many men who have such predatory behavior. How do you deal with that? We're still learning, but it's only through conversations. Fire women if you know they're going to get pregnant.
Absolutely.
A lot of this happens a lot of the time, and it's not one person or one producer or one industry that can fix it. When it hurts economically is when it's going to unfortunately get fixed only then. Women, as they have more and more children, they're kind of they're penalized economically and in the professional sphere, whereas men, the more children and the older they actually are seen as more responsible and more reliable and things like that.
I don't think we need to get to that. If this is not working out, okay, like nobody's forcing a producer here to say yes to 20 makeup vans or whatever the XYZ perks are that, you know, it's not a gun to your head. If it's not worth it to you, you obviously would not go to this actor.
That if you don't do it, there are already 10 others who are ready and willing to do it. That's one thing. Not that inherently leads to fair practices.
Sure.
It doesn't lead to fair practices, but that's the reality. That does happen. I do think that it's only through conversations that we can have more and more fair practices.
Hello everybody, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. My guests today are obviously talented but also incredible people who have contributed so much to Indian cinema. I'm of course talking about Konkona Sen Sharma and Rohan Sippy. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Rudrani. Thank you.
Adding more to this contribution to Indian cinema is such. My first question though is the art of adapting correctly. How tricky is that? Because there is obviously a massive fandom, a massive audience out there who has loved and judged and dissected every second of what they've loved, you know. And then you of course try to make it palatable for our Indian audience by keeping the crux alive of that show, correct? Starting with you, sir, tell me, how is that tricky? I'm assuming it is, and how do you navigate through that? And then of course
हिंदी में कहते हैं नकल के लिए भी अक्ल चाहिए.
बिल्कुल.
So that is where you start with, and how you apply it is the whole art of it. Ki obviously the spine, the two kind of spines in a way, because you've got your whodunit, and very beautifully interwoven with that is Sayukta's arc, how her personal life keeps reflecting and conflicting with the professional aspect. So we knew that direction we did not want to alter, that DNA of the show. But now when you come down to how do we create those things, obviously lots of changes. If you've seen the original relationship in the original, it's an ex-husband. Here it is a husband which that on a kind of a second chance. So these things make that difference of the relatability of the show. I think in the original there's a son and here it's a daughter. We just thought there's a more direct connection to, you know, when the victim shows up, her.
And the case.
Yeah, so these kind of things, I think, and the one thing I really fought for, and I'm glad.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, that the retaining this mother character kind of was in some drafts, and then they said, let's not devote that much time. I said, let's just do it. We can edit it down if we don't like it, and I'm so glad we got a wonderful actor, Madhu Rajaji, and just the nature of it in any case was just so nice, and it comes in maybe 30-second bursts, but it just adds again a full dimension that she's not only a mother of a teenager, she's the daughter to someone who's also looking at her with the eyes of a mother, having gone through this for 40 years, you know, while she's trying to do, which is again such a relatable thing in an Indian context, you know. So these are the little things that I think added up in giving us our own thing, but I don't think the whole idea of adapting is to walk comfortably in those footsteps and find your own stride, you know.
Fair enough. Konkona, do you find adaptation tricky, like I asked?
I loved the original. I had of course seen a remake, which is The Killing, which is the English, which is so much, which is accessible. But the original Danish, Forbrydelsen, I think, which I just saw, I think, one episode of, pretty much to kind of get into it again, the atmosphere, and get the you know, the feel of that. I don't have any problems with a good adaptation. It's like, it's just the same way. It's not like it's not like I like this genre or that genre. I like something that's well executed and well made, regardless of what genre it is. So it doesn't matter if it's an adaptation. If it's you know, you can have a good adaptation or a bad adaptation. It makes sense you know, to adapt it properly and cleverly to an Indian context, because if you just blindly follow it, then, you know, some things will seem out of place and alien and will not make sense, and you'll have to kind of spend more time on those things. So I think that the writers and Rohan did a great job of adapting it, and they were really just tweaks actually, because the crux of it remains the same. And also that was made 18-20 years back. So web series and the nature of web series have also changed since then.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure Rohan will agree, and which includes me and a lot of people. A lot of comments said, it has Konkona in it. I'm going to watch the show. And which I
That
think
applies
even,
for her also. Konkona's in it, she'll definitely
which I think, Rohit, is a sentiment that you absolutely unanimously agree with.
Absolutely, no, for sure. That she does rightly bring a certain expectation,
Yeah.
and that is for an audience. But I can say, even as I started out as a director, I knew the minute they mentioned her name, that's okay. Now, you know, writing happens on 20 levels.
Yes.
You write the adaptation, you write it, and then now casting an actor is also a rewriting.
Sure.
Now they're going to bring, you know, now when Surya comes in, he's, you know, so that becomes a very exciting stage. We say, okay, we've already got a good foundation. Now you're bringing this layer of actors in, you know, Konkona, Surya, Shiv, Iravati, Sagar, all these guys, the young kids.
And I was similarly, sorry to interrupt, excited to know that Rohan was directing it. We've
Sure.
actually go back a long way.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
it becomes a team, you know, genuinely, this is very much a team effort. You know, it has to be the amount of work we have to do in, you know, inside a 2 month span, we have to do, you know, all these work. Every day was a pressure. So it's not going to be like an auteur sitting there and saying, now you do this, and now it has to, everyone has to come in. I compared to the old days of how songs used to be recorded. You know, you had these wonderful, the music arranger,
Yeah.
Bablu Da for R.D. Burman, Sebastian Coutinho for Shankar Jaikishan. So R.D. Burman would write the song, or Shankar Jaikishan write the song, and someone would write the lyrics. And it goes in the hand of someone who, at the end of a day, has to put 150 musicians together, set your mics, get all the parts,
Produce it.
and produce it. That's what I look at the OTT, the gig being so exciting for that. That okay, I come in and it can't be that, oh, today it's not working, so we can do it tomorrow. No,
Yeah.
this train has to stay on track, otherwise the whole thing goes off. The number of elements you kind of coordinated to make it all work, you know,
Yeah.
by 2 days, and she may not have 2 days at the end, or X location may not be available. So it's really about working and trusting each other as a team. Then it can be a lot of fun.
I wouldn't say easy, but I think for you, you're the right man, right, to start another wonderful crime thriller series. So when you already have a series that it's reaching its season 5 now with criminal justice.
I hope so. Yeah, and I think what remains common is this same. If you can find that spirit, you know, from dealing with the platform and studio to the crew and cast, that, you know, if you can keep enough faith that we can build something good together, let's
Sure.
trust each other and do our best, you know, and there will be some conflicts and we'll find a way out, but the point is to really work together. So crime thriller is always inherently interesting because there's a mystery and you're constantly engaging the audience.
Sure.
And like we've been talking about today, but so much of it is just getting to see character portraits.
Absolutely.
Or this person presents like this, but what is that secret they're hiding? Or this guy's secretive, oh, it's actually not what I thought it was, it's something much more vulnerable that they're trying to hide. You know,
Sure.
so that is something we do in life also when we meet people. So it's as fun to vicariously do it in the
Yeah.
genre like this.
Absolutely. You know, Konkona, it's very seamlessly integrated in the script, in the storyline that you see also in the teaser. The subject of what happens on the internet and how deeply it impacts the lives of children particularly. You have a son. You often said that it, you know, we've discussed that it worries you at the future, sometimes said, with what is happening in the internet, on social media, where good and really, really terrible, dark things happening. I want your thoughts on it, A, and you know, does it really worry you, you know, especially as a mother?
Patriarchy affects men and women, you know, badly,
Both,
I think. Yeah.
of course.
I mean, of course, men have a lot to benefit from it. The world is only such, you know, the social media is a reflection of the world. So, you know, you're always, there's a lot of trepidation when your child is growing up and entering the world, which is good and bad, and therefore entering social media, which is good and bad as well. And, you know, slowly we have to just I guess, learn to relinquish control.
Finding Nemo.
Finding
Letting
Nemo.
go.
Letting go, yeah. But so yeah, that is a bit of a concern, definitely, for me, as he's becoming a teenager. Male, female, you know, for both, especially as they're growing up and making them aware of things, that's very important, of course. I was saying earlier that it's, I think, wonderful that in Australia, social media is banned for children under 16, and I
Yes.
think that's like some good policies have to be in place also. I'm very much in favor of that. And this is actually beautifully revealed in our plot, because our victim is from you know,
That
she's a college kid and is from that generation, so we get to see her world, we get to see the college world, what's actually going on in the kids, because some of our suspects are from a political world or from another from other parts of society, we get to see those worlds. That is what is interesting, because Sanyukta she's a good cop. She's somebody who's her single-minded focus right now. She's in fact unable to actually focus on her shifting and her marriage, and apparently her last day karte karte, matlab she's just delaying her last day, and she's really taken on this case, and she's slowly revealing this whole world to us. So very relatable and very interesting, because what is going on, actually we don't really know. We don't really know the extent to which our kids are. I mean, how much can you police your child's digital activity? To what extent? This is something, it's a very common thing that we all grapple with.
We're talking about mothers. I will have to bring up that the subject of motherhood penalty that you had once mentioned in your interviews, which I think is true. It's a very, very true conversation. Tell me how much of an impact motherhood penalty has on actors.
Well, it's, I'm sure, different for different people, but it's not an original thought, it's something I had come across, now I've forgotten where. It's called the motherhood penalty and the fatherhood premium.
Yeah.
Where basically the study or the findings were that women, as they have more and more children, they're kind of, they're penalized economically and in the professional sphere, whereas men, the more children and the older they are, they actually are seen as more responsible and more reliable and things like that. So that is an unfortunate truth across industry. Yeah, and similarly, I think here as well, it depends, you know, on other factors as well, because one, of course, we have to work, and I think what Rohan, you had mentioned earlier, is that there are so many people vying for that same single position that if you don't do it, there are already 10 others who are ready and willing to do it. That's one thing. Not that that inherently leads to fair practices.
Sure.
It doesn't lead to fair practices, but that's the reality. That does happen. I do think that it's only through conversations that we can have more and more fair practices, and things have, you know, slowly become a little better. Like 20 years ago, there were far fewer women on set. And now there are more, and they are also often for practical things, like, for example, if you want more women on set, you have to have better bathrooms. Many young women don't go to school because they don't have access to good bathrooms, or, you know, like, because our travel is such that you don't need like proper pickup and drop in the middle of the night and things like that, and safety. You have to look out for these things. There are so many men who have such predatory behavior. How do you deal with that? We're still learning, but it's only through conversations, I guess, that we can start marginally making a difference.
You know, you just said, when I hear about female actors still having to justify why they choose to prioritize their motherhood and ask for certain things, you know, this ours, that ours, the discussion has been going on for a while, and you have everybody coming in. There's a producer's point of view, there's an actor's point of view, there's a thing point of view. But towards the end of it, if that female actor asking for something, keeping in mind that she wants to work out her balance in her life, is it fair for others to put that kind of judgment and say that she's being haughty about it? What are your thoughts, Konkona? Because you've been in this industry for a while.
I'll tell you, that's, you know, it's not just this industry. It happens a lot in corporate industry, like in many places this does happen, that actually, you know, you fire women if you know they're going to get pregnant.
Absolutely.
That a lot of this happens a lot of the time, and
Yeah.
it's not one person or one producer or one industry that can fix it. When it hurts economically is when it's going to unfortunately get fixed only then.
Yeah.
In our country, I don't think it's going to be a problem so soon because we don't have that problem. But in many other countries, what's happening is that, you know, women are not incentivized to have children.
Yeah.
So the more educated a woman is, actually the fewer children she has as an overall trend. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about individuals, I'm
Yeah.
talking overall.
Absolutely.
And then what happens is eventually the birth rate starts to decline. And so then what happens is eventually economies start to suffer. So then governments step in and start incentivizing having children.
हाँ,
But
पर यहाँ
we
पे
have to wait a long time.
No, I think without getting to the particulars of it, it's on one level. I think essentially both parties have to be comfortable with the way they're working. I don't think there's any need to publicize something if it doesn't work out. But you know, here in Bombay, we talk about every once in a while in the media it comes out that this actor's demands are so much, producers
Yeah,
are trying to
entourage
curb it.
is that.
So I'm saying if you look at it as a more particular case of this general thing, that is an ongoing conversation as well. I think if someone has earned a certain position, I think it's absolutely valid that this is how they will work. They will work
with
for
the
X
entourage or
hours
whatever.
or whatever their comfort level. They know they cannot go beyond that, or they don't want to. And if you're talking about those, they've earned that position. They've worked their asses off for
Sure.
10 years, 20 years to say that. But I don't think, on the other hand, if for any reason the other person says this is not happening, obviously there's been some negotiation attempted and they've not reached a resolution. It's unfortunate that they cannot work together after someone intends to work together. But it's I don't think either really loses out, because I don't think there's any lack of opportunities for a person like that who'll move on, either
something
enjoy
else.
the free time, which I think is in such shortage. We can relate to that also, so I don't think we should be too quick to judge. That judgment is actually it's between two parties, both of whom are regarded in their capacity. So let that work. I don't think we need to get to that. If this is not working out, okay. Like, nobody's forcing a producer here to say yes to 20 makeup vans or whatever the XYZ perks are. That it's not a gun to your head. If it's not worth it to you, you obviously would not go to this actor.
Very interestingly, you were a debut newish director at the time when you did Kuch Naa Kaho, and you were working with a slightly more fairly newish actor like Abhishek. Abhishek obviously had done things,
yeah.
and Aishwarya was a massive
Superstar,
star back
yeah.
then. But I think even from that time, the equations that you balanced and you saw were very different, because they were all cooperative. She was okay not demanding things and fitting things for you and for the male actor. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Rohan.
No, she was amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you enough. I mean, I had not done any work in that sense for her.
Sure.
This was the time of just before Devdas and all. She was just an amazing, unbelievable superstar
Correct.
at that time. And for her to give me a chance to work with her was itself a big thing. And then every day on set, there was never any of that. If anything, she was always someone who would contribute or have the right kind of perspective. Say, what if we tried? Whatever. Just, outstanding from me. So, but since I've not made a film in that theatrical space in a while, I can't directly answer. I've not interacted with actors
Sure.
to know. I don't think I'm the kind of nature who would be able to work that way. I would cut off very quickly in my head if it was that, or kind of just distance myself and do it kind of almost like an out of body experience. Okay, I'm supposed to show up. No, that's. I don't think I can engage on a day-to-day level with this kind of drama that it works
on the
for
set.
me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That for me doesn't. I can't work that way. But so inherently, if I'm working, I think there'll be enough of a.
There has to be a collaboration.
Yeah, that we're working together.
Absolutely.
If you don't like it, then let's not do it. It's simple as that. But if you do, then we all understand what this job is about. Let's make the best of it, because somebody's putting a lot of money in. We should do our best to make it entertaining.
Konkona, we've seen a lot of actors mention that, but there is still a dearth of well-written films. I was talking to Kalki, I was talking to a lot of people saying that yes, there are, but things are not getting sanctioned. Things are not completely there. Everything is hawe mein, bahut sare roles pitch hote hai, wo cut jate hai. There is that. So there is a feeling of anxiety that will the good work that we want to do be supported by the current working system? And will there be enough roles that still have that kind of research and analysis and are well written? And are the writers getting enough? So many pointers in this question to say that this is the factors that are being discussed. I want to know your opinion on it. As a director as well, Konkona.
The kinds of films that do well largely these days it seems are very hyper masculine kind of films, no? Those are the films which do well, and you know, there is a dearth of kind of the middle of the road cinema that's not happening so much. A lot of shows not happening or getting cancelled. I think it might help if there were some more streaming platforms. I think might help, because I think for streaming platforms, one of their priorities is also to have as many subscribers as possible. And one of the ways to do that, I think they feel, is to have big actors, like big stars who will ensure that, which was the same thing. It's the same in studios. It's always been like this, I feel, pretty much, no? That you want to, because what justifies the budget of a particular show or a film is not the story, but it's the actor or the actress who comes in, actor usually. And that's the way the business works as of now. Fortunately, unfortunately, that is how it works. Right now, that's not great, ideally, but I feel like it's been like that for a long time. Right now, I would say let's celebrate that we have this show.
We have such,
you know, it's a nice, interesting, complex female character who's also juggling a lot of things. So, small mercies.
But I know that there are obviously parts, when you talk about your character, there is a certain veneration I hear in your voice. There's a certain amount of respect you have when you're like, oh, you know, she's this. I know there are a few things that you always find that very normally just you relate to, right, in a journey. I'm sure that just goes beyond just being a mother. Few things that even you relate to. What are those few things, that the connection that you feel with your character?
You know, I'll find a connection even with a serial killer. If
I know. I remember Killer Soup. You defended her. How can I forget?
Yeah, that's right.
You were like, of course she's good. How can you say
that's right, that's right. Whoever I'm playing, if I'm playing a part, then I have to be with that.
But I love her. I think the trailer that I saw,
yeah. Same here. I really like her too, and I love that she's actually not feeling burdened, or maybe she is to a certain extent. She is feeling conflicted, but she's also not so conflicted that she will, like, I mean, her roles as wife and mother are a little bit suffering because of her role as a cop, little bit, and that's nice to see, actually, because like a lot of us are actually dealing with, you know, as you said, a work-life balance and things like that, and we can see that happening with Priyanka.
That is almost maybe the little fantasy where a woman can give that the priority, whereas in real life it might be harder. So, but we get to and put out a role model for like what happened if you did actually take that
and what
bigger
about
step.
Bhisham Mukul Chadha plays this fantastic the husband Bhisham, who's really been patient for so long and such a supportive, lovely husband, and she's always the one like, no, I'm not coming, no, I can't do
because
this.
Otherwise usually women are not told to prioritize their careers that way, right?
That's
like
what.
It's the
so
men
that's what I'm saying. So
this
becomes a great role model for
absolutely
giving a kind of example or an inspiration that you can, you know, do this despite it's going to be harder in real life than here, but because we get to control the writing. So
let's hope and hope for women to have secure husbands who will be like this in the show.
It's a role model for men too, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 100% role model for men. Interestingly, because we're talking about your older films, a reunion picture with you, Abhishek and Riteish has started off. Are we going to get the OG Bluffmaster too? Very interesting.
That I think just I'll just say I had an amazing experience working with both of them.
Sure.
Since then, I've understood that I mean, I knew Abhishek before, but Riteish, he's just such an outstanding person. I'm sure you've interviewed him. He's
both of them.
Obviously, great actors, and you know them as well. They're just such gentlemen, and I think we just inherently get along so well.
Sure.
And I'm hoping that we get an excuse to work together sooner rather than later is the best way to put it. I mean, they're really top of my list as, and I've said this I think a couple of times today, you know, on an OTT show even more so, you need your lead actor to be a leader. On screen they are, and off screen is as important. They set the tone for everyone to know that we're really a team. It's not just something that okay, X person is going to do this and we have to figure out what we have to do around it. That there is a whole symphony working here, and if we all work together. So there is similarly like that. Like I found working with Coco on this, Pankaj ji, other actors, when they bring that energy off camera as well, that makes all the difference, and I think it helps. And as far as Bluffmaster goes, you know, it's a con movie, so if I tell you something, if you believe me, it's not going to make any sense.
You don't know what's going to happen, but I still want to believe you, sir. I don't think you'll con me. I feel like there's a season 2 of Search. I feel like there's season 5 of Criminal Justice, and I feel like there is feeling of Bluffmaster too, because you really didn't say no.
Right. Yeah.
Because in this whole answer, you've not denied.
Right? A con man wouldn't.
You're not a con man, sir.
That is our business. James Cameron said 24 lies a second, you see.
So you think, but I don't think you've ever, I think I've always heard that you're one of the most honest producer and filmmakers that are there.
No, that's why my ringtone is still Sabse Bada Rupaiya. So
Oh, money is important. I'll end it by this. We're talking about so many twos, and just on a fun note, if there's a fantastic script that comes to any of your films to have a sequel to it, what is one character that you would love to do a sequel to? Again, depends upon how the script is written, story, all that. I'm just saying hypothetical, because there are so many twos that we just discussed. Coco, what would you pick and why, huh?
You know, I'm not a big fan of sequels actually.
I thought so.
Yeah.
No? So you don't want anything to sort of...
I don't want or don't, it's not I don't want or don't want, it's not that I particularly think about or that's a priority or that's taking any brain space for me, a sequel. But I mean, should a sequel come to me that's very well written, then of course that I would really look forward to it.
You had
It has to be written better than the original, no?
yeah,
Then maybe.
100%.
That's the challenge. As a standalone thing, it should be good enough, I think.
Yeah,
So like
that's the
the
only
second
way it
Munna
makes
Bhai
sense.
had that kind of quality.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
took it into a different space, brought in
Yeah.
Gandhi, and you're okay. You
That's
come in to watch
that's a great
characters you
example.
know, and you're taken into a completely different journey, which this is the best way to do it. No?
On that note, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rani.
Always-
Always lovely to chat with you.
Always lovely, and I'm so glad we could do this, sir.
Yes, me too.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I still haven't finished the whole series, which I definitely will. Absolutely hooked on to it.
Lovely.
Love the original, and like the whole says, I would love anything that has Konkona Sen Sharma.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you,
all the
ma'am.
very best for
Thank
Search.
you.
Thank you.